we're covering a Forbes article from Catherine Erdley, and she talks about it's titled "The Retail Metaverse is Heating Up. Here's how small businesses can benefit." And so, while we were working, we covered topics that you may not have been aware of because you've been working. But the metaverse is you hear about Facebook changing its name to Meta, and they're wanting to help you build these online worlds. And as much as we like to think that it's for the gamers, it's for the people who want to spend their leisure time in spaces, there is actually commercial value for the metaverse. And so this article goes on to mention things like digital hangouts and augmented reality, which can allow you, if you're let's say you're a candle maker. This is a pretty stupid one, but like, let's say you're a candle maker and you want to show how beautiful your candle will look on somebody's shelf or on their work desk. They can take their phone and see an artificial image of your candle, like right on the desk, wherever they want it to be. So there are a lot of implications here. Before I go on my soapbox, though, Summer, do you have any thoughts, questions, curiosities? Because I could talk about this for the whole episode. So rein me in a little bit and talk about your side of it. And I'll try to put an HR spin on it on the other side of your thoughts, too.
Well, I'm glad that you're pumped to talk about this, Joey. I had a feeling that you would be. And, when I started thinking about the metaverse and, small businesses, I thought, well, gosh, this isn't an area that I'm super savvy about. I know it's been an interest of yours, but it also made me think about there's probably quite a few others that aren't really, kind of up to date with what's going on, why it's important. And again, when I think about the greatest topics for us to discuss, it's, calling attention to if there was a small business owner who was really only, paying attention to our show for what they should be keeping their eyes on. I want to make sure that we're calling their attention to these types of things. And so maybe you can kind of start by sharing your thoughts on where you see this potentially headed in the next 10 or so years. Because I think in this article, Facebook had been quoted as saying, they really think it's going to take about 10 to 15 years for products to be fully realized. And, that being this augmented reality where people can try on these products all the way through that being the first part of the transaction to actually being able to purchase them and then them arriving at their home without even setting foot in the store. So maybe you can share your thoughts, Joey, on where you think this could potentially go.
Yeah, I'll share where I think it's going to go. And of course, Summer knows me that I love shiny objects. But this is one shiny object that I'll have discipline on. But I do have ideas for how it applies to Jumpstart. But the first thing I'll say from an HR perspective is that this could be, low hanging fruit is an opportunity for you to interview candidates and even have them try, interview them in real time in a space that's not quite Zoom, not quite in person. But it's a way for you to even get them to show their personality by way of meeting their avatar and connecting with them, maybe for informal interviews. Another aspect is training and development. There is a copier company that has been training in virtual reality for quite some time. But for jobs that have mundane tasks or routine goals, I could think of putting on a headset for kids in vocational colleges and teaching them how to do oil changes or how to repair tires or whatever the case may be. And so you are able to create simulations where, it's low cost because you don't have to go through the materials of buying a new tire, buying more oil, whatever the case may be. So training is one area. Team fun. uh, I get on my Oculus with one of my friends, and we do the virtual Top Golf, and we just hang out and talk, and that's pretty cool because I think it's enough to chew on. So interviewing, training, and team building, team collaboration, team fun are some spaces that I could see the metaverse really having an
Mhm.
effect. But also in the article they mentioned about like digital hangouts. So you could
Okay.
create a branded space in the metaverse for your team to hang out. So one of the things that we will do is create a space in the metaverse where you can do like virtual bean bags and throw darts and all this stuff. We
Mhm.
hang out. Um, but yeah, those are some of my thoughts on this space.
I appreciate you sharing. When I think about, kind of the big picture and why small businesses want to be paying attention to this is because when I think about, what internet, iPhone, what mobile devices as a whole have done to e-commerce, it's totally transformed the way that we interact with like retailers specifically, many brands, and how we work, shop, and live. So, if you're a small business and, thinking, well, the metaverse, it's too far on the horizon, it's too expensive, it's still too big of an idea for us to try. I think really small businesses, in my opinion, are in the best position of any to be able to move swiftly to start to take steps as necessary. Because, for example, a small business, you mentioned the candle company. When I think about the opportunity that this platform has to grow a business and for them to kind of extend their reach, I think there's a huge opportunity here. And, we talk about 10, 15 years down the road, I think we're going to look back and say, hey, remember when we used to always have to go into the store to, see, whatever it was. I think we're going to look back on it and realize that, and I kind of compare it to the iPhone, Joey, like before iPhone, like how did you do the things that you do now? I think we're going to look at it and it's going to totally transform our lives in that same type of way.
Definitely. As you were talking, I was like, well, how old is the iPhone? And it's really only it's about 15 years old. When you think about Facebook, or I guess Meta's planting their flag on the ground and saying we're gonna lead the way on this, and we don't expect
Mhm.
to be a major player until 10 years from now. You know, if we were to look back at the first iPhone 15 years ago, what it was capable of, and what it's capable of right now, I mean,
Mhm.
technology changes so much. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see for sure.
It will be. And one of my parting thoughts to kind of put this into perspective is if you were a business and you had a 10 to 15-year heads up that there was going to be an iPhone and that there was going to be apps and you could build a mobile app to, help interact and or sell, directly to your consumer, like, wouldn't you want to start working on it now? I'm saying yes. So I look at this as kind of, the heads up to start the race if you're a small business and taking the necessary steps to move in that direction.